If you put your great-grandfather and you in the same room today, you wouldn't look like the same species. He was 15 centimeters shorter, 15 kilograms lighter, and could crush your hand in his. His testosterone was nearly double yours. His sperm count was double yours, and he'd never even heard the word obesity, because in his entire town, almost nobody suffered from it. In just 100 years, the male body has been completely rewritten. Today, 43% of American men are obese, compared to just 10% in 1960. But here's what you probably don't know. A few things actually got dramatically better, and one of them would make your great-grandfather's jaw drop. To understand what happened, we have to go back to 1926. Your great-grandfather is 25 years old. He's 170 centimeters tall and weighs 68 kilograms. He's never touched a dumbbell in his life or eaten a protein bar, and he doesn't know what creatine is. If you asked him how to spell macros, he wouldn't know. But one thing he would know is that he'd destroy you in a fight. And here's the part that should make you angry. He didn't do anything to earn that body. This was a body built by simply waking up and living. He walked everywhere because cars were still a luxury. He earned his living through muscle, not a keyboard. He ate food that came out of the ground that week. He slept when the sun went down, because electricity wasn't yet a default. There were no screens or seed oils. His environment built him, not discipline. Meanwhile, you're doing everything right, lifting 4 times a week, hitting your protein goals, taking your vitamin D, cold plunging, and listening to Huberman. Yet, you're still weaker, fatter, and have lower testosterone than a random factory worker from 1926 who smoked 2 packs a day. Something profound happened between his generation and yours, erasing 100 years of male biology in just 3 generations. In 1926, the average American man spent most of his day on his feet. By 2026, the average man spends over 12 hours a day sitting down. You spend half your waking life in a position your body was never designed to hold. A Mayo Clinic study tracking over 220,000 men found that sitting more than 8 hours a day raises your risk of dying from any cause by 40%. Even if you exercise, let that sink in, even if you exercise. But the chair didn't arrive alone. It came with a partner. In 1908, Henry Ford built the Model T. By 1929, more than half of American households owned a car. Walking, the fundamental activity humans had done for 200,000 years, suddenly became optional. Your great-grandfather walked 5 kilometers a day on average. You walk under 3.2. Here's what they don't tell you in fitness magazines. You simply can't out-train a sedentary life. You can lift 6 days a week, hit 10,000 steps on the treadmill, eat clean, and still be metabolically worse off than a 1926 farmer who never saw the inside of a gym. Why? Because exercise is not the opposite of sitting. Movement is. By the 1950s, the damage was just beginning to show. Waistlines were creeping up, heart attacks were exploding, and doctors were utterly confused. Then came the decade that changed the male body forever. The decade that introduced the first ingredient in your food that wasn't even food. It's 1950, and the war has just ended. Most of the men who went away to war returned by the millions sooner than most people had expected. America is the richest country on earth, and something appears on grocery shelves that has never existed in human history. Food made in a factory. For 200,000 years, men ate what came directly from the ground, off a tree, or from an animal. Then, in a single decade, that era abruptly ended. TV dinners, margarine, Wonder Bread, Cheese Whiz, sugary breakfast cereals aggressively marketed to children, and vegetable oils extracted with industrial solvents, oils that just 100 years earlier were used to lubricate machinery. And men kept eating. Today, 58% of every calorie an American man eats comes from ultra-processed food. In 2019, the National Institutes of Health ran one of the most important nutrition studies ever performed. They locked 20 adults in a research ward for a month. Half ate ultra-processed food, half ate unprocessed food. The same calories were on offer, with identical protein, fat, carbohydrates, sugar, and fiber. On paper, The ultra-processed group ate 500 more calories a day without even realizing it, and gained 0.9 kilograms in just 2 weeks. Same nutrients on paper, but a completely different, devastating effect on the male body. And it's not just the calories, sugar, or seed oils. It's that your brain simply cannot tell when factory food enters your stomach. The fullness signal is broken. The satiety hormones don't fire. You eat past full every single meal for decades, and your body slowly forgets what hunger even feels like. Your great-grandfather stopped eating when he was full. You, on the other hand, stop eating when the bag is empty. And the government, instead of holding food companies accountable, did something almost unbelievable. They went after fat. In 1977, a U.S. Senate committee released a document that would damage the male body more than any single piece of paper in American history. It was called the Dietary Goals for the United States, and it told every man in America to do one thing: stop eating fat. For 100,000 years, men had eaten fat. Then, in one afternoon, the U.S. government declared all of it the enemy. Eat less fat. Eat less cholesterol. Eat less red meat. Instead, they were told to eat more grains, heart-healthy vegetable oils, or drink skim milk instead of whole. The food pyramid was born. 6 to 11 servings of bread, pasta, and cereal at the base, with fat and oils relegated to the tiny, forbidden tip. In 2016, researchers at the University of California uncovered internal documents from the 1960s sugar industry. The Sugar Research Foundation had secretly paid Harvard scientists the equivalent of $50,000 in today's money to publish a review in the New England Journal of Medicine. This review deliberately blamed heart disease on fat and cholesterol, while burying all evidence pointing at sugar. That single paper shaped American nutrition policy for the next 40 years. Now, here's what your endocrinologist knows that your dietitian might not. Testosterone is made from cholesterol. Literally, the very molecule of male hormones is synthesized from the molecule the government told you to avoid. Cut the fat, especially saturated fat, and your testosterone production slows down. A 2021 meta-analysis confirmed this. Men who reduced fat intake saw their total testosterone drop by 10 to 15% within weeks. Now, multiply that devastating effect across an entire generation of men who were told for 40 years that bacon and eggs would literally kill them. Your great-grandfather ate eggs every morning, bacon, whole milk, and butter on everything. He'd never heard the word cholesterol. His testosterone was higher than yours, his heart disease rate was lower than yours, and he lived through 2 world wars. You, on the other hand, ate Special K with skim milk and a banana for breakfast for 20 years because a man in a lab coat told you to, and your hormones paid the ultimate price. But the low-fat lie wasn't the only thing destroying men in the 1970s. Chemicals were leaking into the male bloodstream that had never existed before in human history, and one of them was about to wage war on the testicle itself. In 1973, a Danish scientist named Niels Skakebæk noticed something alarming in his clinic. Young men, healthy on paper, couldn't have children. It wasn't just 1 or 2 cases. It was hundreds, then thousands, revealing a pattern that would eventually be confirmed across every developed country on Earth. The male reproductive system was failing. Skakebæk and his team did what no one had ever done. They pulled every study on male sperm count from 1973 forward and compiled them in one place. What they found should have been front-page news in every country in the world. Sperm concentration in Western men had plummeted from 101 million per milliliter in 1973 to just 49 million per milliliter by 2018. That's a staggering 52% collapse in one human lifetime, and the decline is accelerating. Before the year 2000, sperm count was falling about 1% per year. After 2000, it has fallen by more than 2.5% per year. So, what's killing the male reproductive system? Plastics, pesticides, non-stick coatings, receipt paper, fragrances, shampoos, food packaging, cosmetics, and tap water. These all have a name: endocrine disrupting chemicals, or EDCs. And they do exactly what they sound like. They hijack the male hormonal system. BPA, found in plastic bottles and food cans, mimics estrogen inside your body. Phthalates, used in shampoos and food packaging, crash testosterone. Phos, the so-called forever chemicals, soak into the testicle and never leave. In 2008, the CDC tested thousands of Americans for BPA, finding it in 93% of them. PFAS were found in over 99% of U.S. blood samples. Your great-grandfather had 0 of these chemicals in his body. You, however, have hundreds. And the damage doesn't start when you crack open your first plastic water bottle. It starts before you're even born. When your mother was pregnant with you, every chemical in her bloodstream crossed into yours during the critical 8-week window when your testicles were forming. Just take, for example, her shampoo or perfume. That seemingly innocuous dose programmed your hormones for life. You didn't fail your testosterone test at 25. It was rigged before you were even born. Now, here's where the story gets truly strange, because for the last 10 minutes, everything has gotten worse. But there's one part of the male body that went the opposite direction. It got bigger. In 2023, researchers at Stanford published a study in the World Journal of Men's Health. They analyzed 75 different studies on penis size, going back to 1942 and encompassing over 55,000 measured men. What they found stunned them. The average erect penis length had grown by a staggering 24% in just 29 years, from roughly 12.2 centimeters in the 1990s to 15.2 centimeters today. Men celebrated. Headlines went viral, and the internet had a field day. But the scientists who ran the study weren't celebrating at all. A change that big, that fast, in a part of the human body that took millions of years to evolve, is not a good sign. It's a grave warning sign. In nature, when a body part changes that drastically in a single generation, it almost always means one thing. Something is interfering with development in the womb. The same endocrine disruptors that crashed your testosterone and destroyed your sperm count are also disrupting the hormonal signals that build the male body before birth. The longer penis isn't a sign of male strength. It's a terrifying side effect of male biology breaking down. Researchers call it part of testicular dysgenesis syndrome, a cluster of changes including dropping sperm count, dropping testosterone, undescended testicles, rising testicular cancer, and yes, altered genital development.